Like, I wanted it to kind of be an Easter egg. When the consumer gets this out of the box, they realize like this whole Opti cast is made up of little C's on this side and then little 2's on this side, and I think it comes to life really well. And then you kind of have this ripple effect, which is really cool. I think it just brings the shoe to life, kind of a discreet detail, but I think it makes it really unique. When you put this on, like, I wanted a ton of support in the front of my foot. And so there's an airbag up here. I think the C's comes to life here too on the bottom, which is really fun. And then even the CCs, like, that part on the shoe and the double swoosh, like, I think that's really cool. Some of the insoles are different from shoe to shoe, and so I think that's cool. The colors are different on the inside, so I can't give away everything. Like, you just got to buy the shoe, I guess, if you want to find out all the Easter eggs that are on here.
Caitlin Clark breaks down her first signature Nike sneaker, and after a grueling, highly anticipated 3-year wait, the entire landscape of sports culture has officially been thrown into utter chaos. For 3 long years, since the ink dried on that historic multi-million-dollar deal with Nike back in April of 2024, the basketball universe has been holding its breath. We watched the sold-out arenas. We watched the television rating records fall like dominoes. We watched the merchandise evaporate off the racks in seconds. And through every single step of that meteoric rise, there was an undercurrent of tension, a bubbling wave of resentment from critics and rivals who desperately tried to convince themselves that the hype was temporary. They thought they could gatekeep the spotlight. They thought if they ignored her, fouled her hard enough, or dismissed her commercial pull on social media, the momentum would simply fade away. Well, look at the calendar. The clock has struck midnight on the doubters. Through an exclusive behind-the-scenes breakdown with Slam Magazine and Slam Kicks, Caitlin Clark did not just reveal a shoe. She dropped a nuclear bomb on the entire basketball footwear market. And in doing so, she sent her loudest critics from Aja Wilson and Angel Reese to Dejanai Carrington into a full-blown existential meltdown. Let that sink in, let it marinate. Because before we even touch the rubber, the mesh, or the technology of this sneaker, we need to have a very serious, very direct conversation about the sheer drama and panic this release is causing across the league. For months, the resentment beneath the surface has been building into a tidal wave. Look at Aja Wilson. For over a year, we have seen the passive-aggressive commentary, the calculated podcast remarks, the visible frustration that a player entering the league commanded a signature Nike deal of this magnitude before the veteran establishment felt it was their turn. We saw the entitlement, the complaints about media attention, and the bitter insistence that marketing machines were favoring the wrong superstar. When Caitlin Clark's sneaker details officially surfaced, the silence from that camp was louder than any arena cheer. The realization has finally set in that no matter how many awards you gather, you cannot manufacture the organic, global, commercial magnetism that Clark brings every single time she steps onto a court. Look at Angel Reese. We watched the frantic scramble to push alternative sneaker promotions, the endless media tours, the attempts to manufacture a parallel commercial empire while shooting 28% around the rim and missing wide-open layups in crunch time. The contrast is almost painful to watch. On one side, you have a player desperately fighting for relevance through lifestyle marketing and viral moments. On the other side, you have Caitlin Clark partnering with the biggest sportswear titan on the planet to build an authentic, multi-million-dollar performance vehicle that is about to dominate every gym in America. And look at Dejanai Carrington. We watched the flagrant fouls, the hard hits, the social media tantrums, the post-game rants about privilege, and the childish countdowns on threads. Carrington thought her aggressive antics on the hardwood could intimidate Clark or slow down the machine. But while Carrington was busy collecting ejections, picking up technicals, and crying foul on the internet, Caitlin Clark was sitting in design rooms in Beaverton, Oregon, meticulously engineering a global footwear empire that will outlast every petty feud this league has ever tried to invent. The haters wanted drama? They got it. But they got it on Caitlin Clark's terms. While they were playing checkers on social media, Clark was playing grandmaster-level chess with Nike. Now, let us examine the actual breakdown of this shoe, because the details revealed in her Slam Kicks feature prove that Clark understands her consumer, her brand, and her craft better than almost any athlete of her generation. It all begins with the unboxing experience. Clark revealed a detail right out of the gate that changes the game. When this shoe officially drops this October, it will not arrive in standard generic packaging. It arrives in a custom, vibrant, bright blue box. A bright blue box. Clark explained that the journey of wearing a sneaker begins the very second your hands touch the packaging on the shelf. She wanted the box itself to radiate pure joy, electric fire, and unapologetic passion before the lid is even lifted. She took it back to her childhood, describing that sacred feeling of getting a fresh pair of Nikes right before the start of a new basketball season. That universal, unmatched rush that every hooper remembers unlacing fresh indoor court shoes, unboxing outdoor kicks for the summer blacktop, or pulling out a brand new pair of baseball or football cleats for the first day of practice. That visceral, emotional connection is something Clark lived as a self-proclaimed lifelong sneakerhead. She is not an athlete who simply signs a contract and hands the work off to a corporate design team. She grew up in Iowa obsessing over footwear. In high school, she spent hours on Nike ID, custom building her own personalized Kobe's, experimenting with colors, tweaking outsoles, and finding ways to express her identity through the shoes of her idols, Maya Moore and LeBron James. She remembered that her very first pair of Nike basketball shoes was a rose pink colorway that she begged her parents to buy at the store because she saw her favorite players rocking that exact shade. Her second pair was another pink model, and that childhood nostalgia is not just a distant memory. Clark confirmed that several dedicated pink colorways are already built directly into the upcoming release schedule for her signature line. She contrasted that vibrant aesthetic with classic sneaker history. While acknowledging the timeless darker heritage of iconic Air Jordans, the Breads, the Oreos, the Space Jams, and the Gammas, or the wildly colorful Starbury models from Stephon Marbury back in the day, Clark made it clear that her signature identity is anchored in high-energy, unapologetic visual power. And that brings us to the design and technology of the shoe itself. This is not a lifestyle shoe disguised as a basketball sneaker. This is an elite high-performance vehicle loaded with brand-new cutting-edge Nike technology, engineered specifically to match the unique mechanical demands of Clark's game. She was notoriously demanding throughout the design process. She wanted maximum court feel, ultra-responsive cushioning, and the structural lateral stability required to sprint in transition, stop on a dime, step back against physical perimeter defense, and launch a quick trigger jumper from 35 feet out without losing balance. She also insisted on embedding authentic Easter eggs directly into the physical anatomy of the silhouette. If you examine the outsole up close, you find an intricate detail that is completely invisible from a distance. The traction pattern on one side of the outsole is constructed entirely of micro-sized letter C's, while the opposite side is engineered with micro-sized number 2 seconds. When brought together, the traction grooves subtly spell out CC22 across the entire base of the shoe, creating an artistic ripple effect across the rubber. Clark pointed to this hidden detail as one of her favorite elements of the entire engineering process, a discovery designed specifically for the real hoopers who unbox the shoe and inspect the craft up close. The colorway strategy is equally calculated. The initial rollout features an aggressive, high-contrast, bright blue and yellow model alongside an inverted counterpart. Clark pointed out that the two launch colorways are direct mirror opposites of one another, a deliberate duality that was quietly integrated into her public appearances and discovered organically by observant fans. She confirmed that this inverted concept will continue across future releases in the pipeline, including a vibrant purple version that is already generating massive anticipation among collectors. Now, let us examine the commercial earthquake. This signature launch is about to send through the entire sports landscape. For years, the signature basketball footwear market operated within a rigid, predictable hierarchy. In women's basketball, Sabrina Ionescu established a massive footprint, with her models ranking as the fourth most worn shoes across the entire NBA last season. NBA players throughout the league regularly lace up Sabrinas for live competition, just as they have worn models from Elena Delle Donne. When Caitlin Clark's signature sneaker officially drops this October, the market dynamic will permanently shift into a new stratosphere. Clark and Sabrina will sit at the very top tier of on-court representation. But what the critics fail to understand is that Clark's arrival is not going to cannibalize Sabrina's sales. It is going to act as a rising tide that elevates the entire category of women's signature footwear into an undeniable mainstream staple. Consumers who experience the performance and court feel of Clark's signature model will naturally explore the broader landscape, increasing interest across the board. The lines that actually face massive pressure are the established men's signature models, the Kevin Durant's, the Devin Booker's, the Ja Morant's, and even select general release Kobe models. Clark's commercial pull transcends demographic boundaries. Her market commands the attention of young boys, young girls, lifestyle buyers, casual sports viewers, and elite male and female players at the collegiate and NBA levels who care strictly about elite performance. And this brings us to the single most important philosophical revelation from Clark's entire breakdown. A concept that exposes the fundamental difference between her mindset and the mindset of her bitterest rivals. Caitlin Clark openly embraces the reality that she is an entertainer. Read her words carefully. Let them marinate. Clark looked into the camera during her slam shoot and stated plainly that when she steps onto the hardwood, she knows she is an entertainer. She understands that when an arena sells out 20,000 seats, when families save up their hard-earned money, when parents pay for flights, book hotel rooms, arrange transportation, and bring their children to a game, they are making a massive financial and emotional investment. For many of those fans, that single game represents their one opportunity during the entire year to see professional basketball in person. Clark views her craft not as an entitlement, not as a chore, and not as a platform for endless personal grievance, but as a sacred contract with the paying consumer. She recognizes that her responsibility is to deliver pure joy, high-voltage emotion, electric shot-making, and memories that last a lifetime every single time she laces up her sneakers. Contrast that professional maturity with the toxic entitlement of players like Dejounte Carrington or Angel Reese. While other players spend their post-game press conferences whining about fan scrutiny, crying about social media comments, and acting as though the audience owes them unconditional praise, Caitlin Clark is actively working to ensure the fan gets their money's worth. She understands that the bright, bold, powerful colorways of her shoes embody that exact entertainment ethos. She described putting on the shoe as stepping into a personal superpower, a physical conduit for ambition, fearlessness, and the relentless pursuit of exceptional goals. She reflected on her basketball journey, tracing the path from being a high school recruit in Iowa with the audacious dream of carrying her home state Hawkeyes back to the Final Four, to entering the professional ranks carrying the weight of an entire sports commercial revolution while rewriting history on a nightly basis. That narrative of defying limitations is stitched directly into the fabric of this footwear. When an athlete laces up this shoe, the objective is for them to feel an authentic, shared connection to that daily pursuit of greatness, whether they are competing in the WNBA Finals or playing on a driveway hoop. Clark also outlined her vision for seeding the shoe across the global sports and entertainment landscape. She plans to get pairs into the hands of elite college hoopers, NBA stars, and WNBA peers while expanding its reach far beyond the hardwood. She specifically noted that the silhouette was engineered with a sleek, versatile aesthetic, designed to be worn casually as everyday streetwear by actors, musicians, and cultural tastemakers. She referenced the all-black pair that was recently previewed by Travis Scott on social media, while noting that the broader cultural crossover of the shoe will naturally extend to massive cultural icons like Taylor Swift, bridging the gap between hardwood performance and global lifestyle fashion. The 3-year wait is nearing its conclusion. The speculation is finished. The design details, the technological innovations, the Easter eggs, and the personal storytelling have all been laid bare. This October, when the bright blue box officially lands on retail shelves across the country, it will not just be a new sneaker hitting the market. It will be the arrival of a product built by an athlete who understands her power, understands her consumer, and respects the entertainment value of the game she dominates. The critics can continue to pout in the corners of social media. Aja Wilson can continue dropping passive-aggressive hints. Angel Reese can continue pushing second-rate apparel deals, and Dejounte Carrington can keep dropping cryptic dates on Threads while fouling her way to early ejections. None of it matters, because when that bright blue box opens this October, Caitlin Clark's game, Caitlin Clark's brand, and Caitlin Clark's signature sneaker will be standing alone at the top of the mountain. The countdown is on, the standard has been set, and the basketball world will never be the same.